Five Out Basketball, five segments, five takes. This is the podcast for NBA conversations. This is Five Out Basketball, and it starts in 3, 2, 1.
Well, you know what else is fun? March Madness.
Man, best time to be a basketball fan.
Absolutely. Everton, how's the bracket looking?
It's a bracket. It's definitely one of the brackets of all time. I'll tell you that much. It exists. That bracket I made definitely exists. What's wrong?
Speaking of brackets, if you had Arizona going all the way, your season is over because they have just lost 77-72 to Clemson.
Oh my.
Who in the world would have predicted that? Not
Did you?
me.
Oh, okay. Never
Not
mind.
me at all. I had Clemson going out round one because I thought New Mexico was like that. Screw the Mountain West. But my bracket's still, it's okay. If Marquette
Mhm.
can keep going, I still have all my Final Four. So
Me
like
too.
the potential's still there, but
Yeah.
it could get real deep in the trenches real quick.
Mm-hmm.
But so what
Oh
we're
wait,
gonna
you know
do?
what? I might have had Arizona. I'm gonna let this pull up. We'll talk about our stuff while I'm pulling it up.
Okay, just while Everton's pulling up that bracket, because I'll pull mine up after his. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
talk about teams that have overperformed, teams that underperformed, and we're gonna talk about draft prospects whose stocks improved, whose stocks have gone down. Everton, you got that bracket up?
I don't know what's going on my phone. It is just not pulling up. So for
Well,
anybody who wants to know, I'm pretty sure I had Arizona winning that game and they just lost. So yeah. But go ahead.
Okay, so
Did
I
yours pull
have
up?
I have my bracket pulled up called Rob Dillingham Meat Writer. We'll talk about him in a little bit.
Ugh.
Yeah, but my final four was UConn, North Carolina, Marquette, Creighton, with Marquette beating UConn in the finals. I have more confidence in UConn, but you have to realize when it comes to these pools, 90% of people are also picking UConn to win it. So you're not winning any money. So if you get them to go to the finals, then like that's enough. You can make it off it. And I love Tyler Kolek on Marquette. I think that whole team's full of dogs. There's another guy they have on their roster whose name I can't pronounce. I'll be talking about him in the improved stocks part in a section though, so I'm not gonna get too
Mhm.
deep into that. But
Feel
then
that.
my Elite Eight, I also had Houston in there. I had Gonzaga in there. They're going strong. But then I had two upsets that I thought were gonna be teams that were gonna make it far, and that was the Drake Bulldogs and New Mexico, and they both went out round one. Everton's getting giddy over there.
Wait, hold on. Unless I'm an idiot, I think I actually picked Clemson. Hold on.
He's
Don't do this
lying.
right
Don't
now.
fall for this, guys. This is fake news. This is like fake news media at its
Is
finest.
this a fake video?
Shout out, Chris.
Wait. Oh no. Never mind, guys. Yeah, never mind. Never mind. Never mind.
But Everton, break down the bracket. What happened?
Okay, so I actually had Baylor. Um, yeah, okay, so let me be precise here. So I had Arizona. Um, yeah, I had Arizona against Baylor, who obviously lost to Clemson, or yeah, lost to Clemson. And then I had Clemson. Did I have the Clemson? No, I had Baylor beating Arizona, but
Oh,
both of those things were wrong. So yeah, I was just wrong, guys. I was just wrong.
yeah, so I'm going a little bit stronger, thankfully. We're hanging on a thread, but I'm staying alive at the moment. We're gonna hope I can keep it going that way.
Yeah. Oh, since you said your Final Four, I say mine.
Oh
I had
yeah,
UConn, North Carolina, and then Houston, Tennessee, and then UConn, Houston in the championship with UConn winning.
not bad at all. I would love to see that going. But we're gonna get to overperforming teams because I had one team written down, and man, did they just perform. Clemson was one of my teams because I thought they had two super tough matchups. I thought New Mexico was such an underrated team that played like balls to the wall pressure, and they just let their nuts hang on them like it was effortless. And then
Hmm.
they went against a Baylor team, which is full of NBA talent like Jacoby Walters, Yves Massey, Ray J. Dennis, and they beat them convincingly. I mean, Baylor made a little
Hmm.
bit of a push towards the end, but Clemson was leading by double digits throughout. And
Yeah,
then they go against a red hot Arizona team led by Caleb Love and beat them. Wasn't even planning on bringing that up. I thought this was gonna be the end of Clemson's day, but they're still alive and they are
they're
now
still
Elite
alive.
Eight bound. How
That's
could you not be
crazy.
impressed by that? Because like this isn't a team full of talent. Like their star guy heading into the tournament was I forgot his first name. PJ Hall. He was kind of their guy, and he hasn't even been
Hmm.
giving them 20-point performances. They just been all around able to score the ball while playing some good defense. Because you go against scoring like Baylor and Arizona were some of the best offenses in college basketball, and they've held them to 70 points. Like that. That's
Hmm.
awesome work.
Yeah. So my first team was NC State. Now
Yeah,
it's probably
that
too
was my other one.
obvious. Them being where they are is crazy. Now, I guess when you put things in a little bit of perspective, they beat Texas Tech, which I actually predicted they would. And then they ended up getting, now I'm not gonna say lucky, but going against Oakland instead of like Kentucky,
Mhm.
which I did pick Kentucky to beat them.
We'll
Blank
talk about them
face,
in 30 seconds.
30 seconds literally. And for them to be close to an Elite Eight, it's not bad for NC State.
Yeah, because
So,
what people don't realize is heading in the ACC tournament, they were 10th. They weren't even supposed to make
hmm
March Madness, and then
yeah.
they hit a buzzer beater against Virginia to send the game into overtime, win that, and then beat North Carolina of all teams. They've won
Dude.
7 games in a row when they were supposed to make it here, and this team,
hmm
the aura is here, man.
Aura.
Yeah,
Yes,
this
aura
team, this
is
team's
there.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Everton, you want to talk about their star boy real quick?
Big body.
Yeah, big body.
Big body DJ
Yeah,
Burns.
Hakeem Olajuwon in a Sack Randolph body.
Literally. And he's tough, man. I always love seeing like big bodies who we don't know if they'll ever make the NBA or whatever, but like they're just low post merchants and they know how to like their footwork is so good. Like watching him play, I love watching like big bodies who just like just and I'm just like, yeah, I love seeing it. So DJ Burns been fun to watch, man.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's got to go against Marquette, and Marquette's not losing because they care about my bracket.
Hey, they might actually,
Marquette's hard, man.
yeah, they are. I don't know. Tyler.
Yeah, yeah. And then one player I'm going to talk about later. But Cam Jones has
Mhm.
also been incredible, but I don't want to spoil one of my players just yet.
Okay,
But Everson, do
so
you have another team that overperformed?
so I'm not gonna say Oakland because guys, we already know that's an overperforming team. Them
Yeah.
beating Kentucky is already overperforming. But Yale beating Auburn, and
Yeah,
I only
that
bring
hurt
them
some
up
brackets.
because that hurt my bracket too. But there's a dude who I don't know personally, but like, so I'm from Evanston, and like, I don't think he's from Evanston, but like a lot of people in Evanston know him. Keep basketball. Let's just say basketball,
Yeah,
right? I've seen him before. I've been around him before, but I don't know him like that. He played on Yale, 28 points against
incredible.
Auburn, and he was cooking. Shout out
Hmm.
to John, bro. So that's why I put them there just because of my boy John.
Gosh, I love the John.
Gotta show love. So
But
yeah, that's the only other teams I had.
we're not going to show some love now. I'm tired of getting on this because this really pissed me off. I only had them going to Sweet 16, but the expectations I had for Kentucky, what the hell?
Let me stop you right there. Anybody who's been locked in on our pod knows how high Joey was on the Kentucky Wildcats from the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah, I know the
So I
defense
know
was
you're pissed.
shaky, but man, I loved Rob Dillingham. I love Reed Shepard. I love Antonio Reeves. But that's
Mm,
just embarrassing to go out in that fashion. And all you can learn from that is now in March Madness, you can have all the 5 stars in the world that are going to go in the NBA. But
does
if
not
he does
matter.
not have that veteran experience, it means
Mm.
fuck all because some
It
guy who's going to be an accountant in like 30 minutes is going to cook your team from the 3-point line.
Yeah, I think like Kentucky's like underperformance and pretty much March Madness for a while now, let's be
Hmm.
honest. It's really like showing like yo, experience matters. Why do you think a lot of the teams that win, like why do you think Villanova were so dominant at one point? Because all they had dudes who were at that in that school for like 3 or 4 years.
Hmm.
Virginia a few years ago. North Carolina, yeah, they won one too. UConn, like a lot of the teams that win the national title are teams that have those experience. Why do you think Duke is the best team in the what you would call it in the
ACC.
world right now? Zion, Cam, RJ, Trey Jones,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Who did they lose? They lost in like what, the Sweet 16?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you have all these NBA talents, they're still one and dones. And at the end of the day, they have no experience when it comes to those bright lights. And what
Mhm.
happens when those bright lights get too bright? You
They
know,
crumbled.
they crumble. So Kentucky was obviously the number one like underperforming team
No
because
question.
they were like a 3 seed or something
Hmm.
like that. Everybody thought it was like the best team in the country.
And
No,
most bet on team to win March Madness.
exactly. And what happened? Round one to my boy Jack.
That
Tough.
that, that hurt, man. As a Rob Dillingham enjoyer, that hurt.
Ah, yeah.
But then another underperforming team, and this one puts a smile on my face because fuck the Kansas Jayhawks. This team should have went out in round one, but a referee show when it was the cleanest block in the world, and they would have 20 seconds on a fast break. It's just called a foul for some reason. So they survived Samford, but then they get spanked by Gonzaga. Oh my God, that was a whooping. I understand
Mm.
this team didn't have their best player in Kevin McCullough, but you're still full with NBA talent. Hunter Dickinson is an
Hunter?
NBA talent, but Hunter
Yeah.
Dickinson's supposed to be one of the best centers of college basketball. And then you have Johnny Furphy, who's going to be NBA bound. And this is a team that
Mm.
just has higher standards because of how often they win. And I can easily say this was an embarrassing performance for Kansas.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I had my first dude, or do you want to wait till we start talking about the draft people?
Oh, let's wait for the draft people.
Okay, so the other underperforming team I had was Baylor. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, great shout.
I will say, like you mentioned with Clemson having like a tough road, I guess you could kind of say for Baylor, but I thought they'd make it. I mean, in my bracket, they made it farther. So
Yeah.
clearly I had higher expectations for them. Um, but yeah, Baylor going out in what was that, the round of 32?
Yeah.
Come on. What are we talking about?
Like that's a Clemson team that is just not filled with talent, or at least
And
I
like you
didn't think
mentioned,
they were.
I thought exactly. And you mentioned earlier, Baylor, a team that has at least three NBA prospects,
Mm.
right? Give or take. So to lose in a round of 32, you're obviously on the underperformers list.
Absolutely. But I'm ready to show some love. I have a lot more love for I think a lot of players draft stock improved. I do have a couples that didn't, but I'm
Yeah.
I'm ready to show some love. And the first player
Mhm.
I'm going to show some love to is a guy who is 2 days into college, but he's three lectures behind.
Yeah.
Jared McCain. What a
Hmm.
performance he has had in March. I don't care if he paints his nails. I don't care if he likes to have some fun, if he likes to sing. If that is a reason you want to draft a player, you're a fucking loser. Let's grow up.
You're a
He's
Bears
20.
fan.
Chill. I'm on the Caleb Williams train. Don't do that. I know some people are in that same train, but he's not like the Caleb Williams prospect. But Jared McCain is hooping, man. Eight threes versus JMU. 8 of 11. Wasn't like an 8 of 20 performance. 8 of 11 from the 3 point line. And then in the
Hmm.
game before, he had 15 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. So the guy's just been consistent. And
Yeah.
that JMU performance made him a lottery pick if he's going into the draft.
Yeah, he was on my list of risers. I think he's a young guy, right? So he's
Mhm.
not gonna have that. He's been in the game for 3, 4 years. No, he's a young guy. One, two. I think his game is just really sound. Like I know when you watch him play, he's not the most athletic dude, not the fastest dude, this or that, not the biggest dude, but he's very fundamentally sound. And you could argue this season, he probably been Duke's second best player, or am I shicing it?
No, you're there's Kyle Filipowski, but that's who's the guy throughout the season. But Jared McCain, I think, shown up since the ACC tournament.
Right? So Jared McCain's been yeah, like you just damn near been their best player, right?
Uh-huh.
So and I think March is when like dudes stock starts skyrocketing. I think Jared McCain having the two games like you just mentioned put him from he might be a first rounder to mid-tier first rounder to
Yeah.
hey, he might be a lottery pick at this point. So shout out to Jared McCain. He was definitely on my list too. Um
And
my
before you go,
other
sorry,
oh
I
go
got a
ahead, yeah.
notification. I just need to bring this up. It has nothing to do with March Madness, but the Hawks are currently up one in the Celtics, and
I
there's been
just seen that.
39 lead changes.
Damn.
39. That's what caught my eye. Like I saw the notification, like I'm like, no, I saw 39. I was trying to stay focused. I was like, what the fuck? 39?
39?
Yeah, so
Damn.
that game's been a war. But yeah, continue.
Hmm.
Sorry. Didn't
I
mean to cut
wonder
you
if
off.
Boston was up 30 in it. No, I'm joking. But my first riser that's not Jerry McCain, gotta show love. Me and you both could ISU. Antonio
Yeah.
Reeves, man. Like, I know he's a bit of an older prospect, but throughout this whole season here in Kentucky, you could argue, no, I'm not gonna say they've been their best player, but he's easily been top three
No,
most important players on
I'll
the
say
Kentucky.
he's been their best player. I
You
can
think
I can
so?
stand on that.
You can say that? Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. I ain't mad at that. Like I said, um, he's been so good for Kentucky this year, and you can say we have a bit of Redbird bias. I don't care. All right,
Don't
he's
care.
been really good, and even though Oakland beat them, he was the best player on that Kentucky team during that game.
Yeah, I
Let's
think he
just be
dropped
honest.
28. I think.
28
Yeah.
exactly, or 27 or 28. He did his part.
Mhm.
So I think after that game and just his game as a whole, like I think he could be a spark plug for a lot of teams. He can just be a shooter for a lot of NBA teams. So and I looked at the draft board, so I might have cheated a little bit, but his stock rose. Like he's in the first round on some draft boards. So I
Mhm.
think that's good for him. And he had a great at least one game in the tournament.
Yeah, but he was also showing out the whole season, so it's nice to see that even though he went out, that he's getting some love in of the mock drafts.
Yeah.
But I have to show love to a player because I've seen some ridiculous slander on his name recently, and
Hmm.
for a guy who I don't really like, I think people are going a little too far with it. and that's Zach Edey for
He was
Purdue.
on mine, but I took him
Yeah.
off. But okay, I'm glad you
Yeah,
said it.
yeah. Zach Edey's just getting shit on. People's like, is this just a worse Boban Marjanovic?
Oh my
Guys,
God.
be serious. Yeah, I don't think he's like some guy that's gonna go top 10 and change the league, but
No.
he's a 7'6" guy who can score at the rim and pass the ball and get rebounds and blocks. And he's been incredible. He's played 2 games where he's pulled 23 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks, and then 30 points, 21 rebounds, 3 blocks. That's a first round pick. He's
Yeah.
been awesome. And Purdue is
Hmm.
known for choking serious games, and he's just been hooping the season. I don't think it's gonna stop. So his stock has to have risen. If you watch those 2 games, you go, oh, this is the worst Boban Marjanovic. What are you
You're an idiot.
talking about? You're literally
Yeah.
dumb. Like so
You're an
he's
idiot.
his draft stock has definitely risen.
He was on my list too. Like I said, I took him off because I'm like, I want to shed like some of these other guys. He's gonna end up probably being National Player of the Year. So, but or Naismith, whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Zach, I think people when they see a tall guy do tall guy things, they just think he's tall. But
Yeah.
like I think it takes skill to be good at what he does. Like I know, like, oh, you're 7'4", but like, bro, you gotta still have some IQ. At least some sort of IQ to at least be successful with that. So yeah, I agree with Zach 80s. He's not gonna end up being no top pick or whatever. He'll probably be a mid to late first rounder, but also this is a weaker draft, so I can see
Mhm.
why he'd be, where he's at. So
Yeah,
yeah, I agree
absolutely.
with that one. Another guy who maybe he's more controversial, but I
Okay.
can't act like he hasn't been good. It's Terrence Shannon.
Yeah.
Like he's been
Spot. That's a
good.
great take.
He's been good. I don't want to bring up what he does off the court. If you know, you
You
know.
know. Yeah.
But look, he's been flat out good. So I
Mm.
can't argue with that. And I
You can't
think
even say good. It's been incredible.
exactly. I'm
Yeah.
doing. I don't want to say too much because you know. But he's been incredible.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, March Madness is where stars are made, and this is where he's been shining. I know people are not gonna let what happened leave their brain, and that's
Mm.
fine. I saw a comment saying, "Hey, of course he's balling. He ain't gonna take no for an answer." And I'm like, "Oh, come on, guys, you
Come
gotta stop."
on.
But nonetheless, I think the only thing that would really hinder him is his off court stuff. But as a player, teams are definitely looking at him like, yeah, this dude can
Yeah.
ball.
Yeah, if there wasn't accusations, I would say he's a top 10 player in this draft with it being a little weaker. It's just the guy is unstoppable on a fast break, and that's what you want today's NBA. And he can really score in
Hmm.
any scenario. Like he's just dropping 30 bombs like it's nothing. Like he's an incredible hooper. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna ignore the court stuff for a second. Julian Voss himself, Redbirds legend for WZND, said Terrence Shannon is the most NBA ready player in this draft. And
Mm.
honestly, I might agree with it. I know it's a little
Yeah.
weaker, but day one,
Hmm.
the potential isn't the highest, but
Yeah.
he's ready for the NBA, especially with the pace he can play at,
Hmm.
unstoppable on the fast break. It's so fun to watch. So
Yeah.
Terrence Shannon Jr. was a riser I had on my board as well, but I have a lot of them. Like I had a lot, a lot more overperformers than I did for the NBA.
Hmm.
Now
Are you
these
ready to
two,
hate or no?
I'm not ready to hate. I'm ready to show so much more
Okay.
love.
I actually have like no other. Donovan Clingan was the only other person I had, but I think his
That was
stock are
one of
relatively
mine.
the same. Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
But I'll
so
let you cook.
I have 4 more, but one of them is a duo.
Okay.
And that's going to be Jermaine Couisnard and Nafale Dante for Oregon. That
Mm.
performance against
Mm-hmm.
against Creighton is getting you in the league.
Mm-hmm.
They scored 60 of the team's 72 points. Were the only 2 players to score in the second half, and they scored 90% of the points in overtime. And the team only got one free throw that whole game, and they brought it to
Damn.
double overtime. They ended up
That's
getting
insane.
spanked because the outside of them two, the team sucked, and they were bound to get tired at some point. But
Mm-hmm.
that performance was incredible. Kuznard scored like 30, like 5 in the first game. That's getting you in the league. They weren't even projected to be drafted. They
Mm-hmm.
became drafted players. I know they're a little older. And they may go in the second round, but you're getting drafted after that. No
Yeah.
questions asked.
Mm-hmm.
And then my next one is going to be his percentages weren't great in the first game, but Dalton Connect, I've just been really impressed with because I thought he was only a sharpshooter. He's been throwing
Mm-hmm.
it down, man. There's been some crazy dunks. So it looks like Dalton Connect's a more versatile scorer than I wanted to give him credit for. So I
Yeah.
think his stock's going to skyrocket a little bit. And then the
Mm-hmm.
last one, I'm going to butcher the name, but it's the forward dash center from Marquette. It's going to be Oso Ighodaro. It's just, and he wasn't projected to be drafted. Now I've seen him in some first rounds and some mock drafts, and it's deserved because he's a taller guy who can score around the paint and the mid range. He gets rebounds and he can pass the ball. He doesn't average a ton of assists, but he's gotten a lot more in March. That's kind of just what your dream build is in today's
Yeah.
NBA. So the
Mhm.
potential's there, and teams are starting to see it. So those are my guys whose draft stocks have skyrocketed in March Madness so far.
Let me tell y'all this now. If you want college basketball, go to Joey. Joey is really, really like that's your niche right there, bro. Like
I love
I'm
college basketball.
I'm okay with college basketball, but that's your
Mm,
niche right there, bro. Like,
yeah,
yeah, that
I've
yeah.
been locked in. It's just I've been a little bit behind because like my friends in high school, they've been watching it the whole time, and I was always the guy that was behind. Like I was really hyping up Peyton Pritchard one year, like shut the fuck up, loser. It's like I've had to play some catch up, so now I'm a lot more tapped in these past 2 years.
Hey, I feel that, bro. I can see it,
Yeah,
man. And some of those,
yeah.
I'm like, hey, cook.
Thank you. I appreciate the love. It's time to hate.
It's time to hate. Can I go
I
first?
yeah, I have three players, but you go first.
So this dude's stock was already falling the entire season, but I think this March Madness game might make bro have to stay another year.
Mm.
PJ Wagner. Now,
Yeah, great shout.
like, like I said, he was already like falling, honestly, because this whole season, bro, it was like, yeah, DJ, bro, what happened?
Uh-huh.
But to him, for him to have zero,
Uh,
0 points, like not even a free throw, like 0 points, bro. He's gonna have to stay another year, bro.
no
I'm not gonna
question.
lie. Like, you know, we already crossed that bridge. Rob is their better point guard, right?
Mhm.
And that was already a thing. But I thought, all right, if DJ can go into this tournament and at least do something, he might be able to build his name back up. A
No.
donut is crazy. So he's my first. I know it wasn't already that high, but he got even lower, guys.
Yeah, great shout. And I'm gonna go with a little bit of a bigger name here because this is a guy supposed to be top 5 in the draft minimum. But
Mhm.
Cody Williams shit the bed this March Madness. It was bad, guys. His stats against Boise State in the first four, just so you guys know, 0 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist in 10 minutes of play. No injury either. They just didn't play him because he was crap in the bed that bad. Like he allowed like 3 offensive rebounds, wasn't good on defense, and got
Mhm.
benched. Was terrible. By the way,
Damn.
Tristan Da Silva in Colorado's draft also skyrocketed. Forgot to bring that up.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
guy can shoot the rock as a big man. Very incredible. Kind of Kevin Love esque. Not gonna hype it up too much, but that's a player
Ooh,
I
Kevin
like a
Love
lot.
esque.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then against Florida, 9-2-3, and then against Marquette, 12-0-2. All of this on below 50% shooting. Cody Williams
Okay.
crapped the bed in March. And this is a guy that was supposed to be a top 5 pick. Did not look like it at all. Like
Mm-hmm.
he could make it up for it in the combine, the potential seen there, but he might crack the top 10, might after that performance.
Yeah, that was another one that was on my list too.
Mhm.
I don't think it'll hurt him crazy, but he was definitely didn't perform up to what you want to see. Especially a guy who his whole season was like efficiency. Like
Yeah.
he's always been so poised and like his efficiency was always good. And to have those crap shoots is bad.
Mhm.
Um,
Especially when it
my next
matters
dude,
most.
especially when it matters, like you see how bright this is?
Yeah.
Light bright, you know? Um, so my other dude who I don't know how to feel about this one because his numbers aren't garbage, but it's like I wanted it to be better. Jacoby Walter, low
Dude,
key,
I really wanted to put him on my list. I didn't, but I agree.
like low key. So first off, even pre March Madness, bro was already lowering his stock because he just was having like it was yeah,
I
yeah.
called it out and I got shit for it, but I
You
stand on
did
that.
call it out. You definitely did call it out. So shout out to Joey. He called it. You know, I'm noticing our takes. You know, never mind. But like he was starting to fall already. But I thought to myself, okay, if he can go into this madness and have some good games and they can go pretty far or whatever, he might be able to build himself back up. First game against Colgate. They win by a lot because they're freaking Baylor. 19 points, 4 rebounds, a block. 4 for 11 for the field. 3 for 8 from three. 8 for 10 from the free throw line.
Mhm.
That's a ugh. That's a game, right?
Yeah, talk about free throws for Clemson, please.
Clemson. He has 20 points. Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
6 for 13, 3 for 9 from three, 5 for 11 from free throw, 45% from the free throw line. If you want to put
And
in percentages.
and what about the free throws with 20 seconds left when Baylor was trailing by 2 points?
Now you tell him, bro.
He went 0 for 2 in that moment. When the team needed him most to tie the game, he didn't make one. No clutch gene at all. The brights were shockingly bright.
Shockingly right, bro. So He was a guy I had on my list because it's like, bro, this was your chance to show people, you know what? I do deserve to be a lottery. I mean, he might still end up being a lottery pick because this draft class is a bit weaker. But at the end of the day, nah, man, it didn't help his case at all.
Not at all. But I'm gonna attempt not to cry for this one I'm about to say.
I'm gonna
I don't
disagree with you on this one though, but go ahead.
I don't think they're gonna like tank their draft stock.
Hmm.
But Rob Dillingham and Reed Shepard didn't perform against Oakland. Did not.
Yeah.
10, 6, and 3, 22% from the field, and Reed Shepard, who had 304 from 20% from the field.
Hmm.
Again,
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna tank it at all. But I know there's already some worry with their height. So there's just another excuse they can add on the board. Just an underwhelming performance for my two dogs, man. I love those guys to death, but that hurt.
Yeah. I figured you'd put whatchamacallit, you'd put them down, but look, I think if you're an NBA scout, they've been good all season. I know
Absolutely.
March Madness is when it matters most, but one, they're two bench players, which
Hmm.
ironically they're two best or second and third best players on the team. And when you look at Kentucky as a whole, the whole team pretty much underperformed outside of like
Yeah,
Antonio Reeves,
that's real.
So I can't put that all on them too. And I think like again, like I said, they performed good all season in a lot of big games too. Like they both performed well in big games this season, pretty
Hmm.
much. Especially Rob. Like
Yeah,
Rob has some good games in those
Rob's
big
so
games,
awesome.
right? So I think if I'm an NBA team, I'm like, ah, damn, they stunk it up, but I still believe in both of them. I feel
Hmm.
like a guy in DJ Wagner's shoes, which maybe I'm doing too much, but a guy who's been bad pretty much the whole season, this is his chance to bring himself back up. Donut. So I'll
Donut.
give those two not a pass, but at least it's like, you know what? Y'all had some good games and big games. I
Mm,
can still believe in both of y'all.
that's real, and I feel the same way. But do you have any more stinkers?
Um, no, honestly, it was just Jacoby,
Yeah.
DJ. I put Rob's name, but I didn't really believe in Rob's too much, and that's why I
Hmm.
said I disagree with you. If you said they were gonna majorly drop, but
Hmm.
outside of those two, I mean, I'm looking at the drive board to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Not really anybody else. Like I see Isaiah Collier, but come on, bro, what are we talking
I
about? They didn't even in the tournament. So, um, Kyle Filipowski's at 19 on this draft board, but I
don't
don't know
think
how
he would get any
consistent.
lower than that.
No, I don't think so either. So, honestly, no, I feel like those are the only guys who really like, I guess you could say,
Mhm.
fell for real. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought there's a lot more risers and fallers, which is why March is very exciting.
Thank you so much for tuning into this segment of the 5 Out Podcast. I am Joey LeMaster, and me and Everton are so thankful for your guys' support. If you want to keep supporting us, please check out the full podcast on Spotify and follow our TikTok account. Both of those will be in the bio, and make sure to leave a like and stay smooth.